Hello everybody, this is Gil Buddy back with another episode. A quick introduction. I call this the Texas Brisket 3-step. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy it. Let's get right to it. Well, all right, we have a 15-pound brisket. We're going to cut it open, do some trimming on it. Then we're going to put a mustard binder and we're going to season it with a salt and pepper blend on both sides all the way around. And then we'll let it sit in the refrigerator overnight to go on the smoker in the morning. That's the plan. So let's get started. So I've got it open. This tough, thick area right here is part of what I'm going to trim off. It's really thick. It does not render down. So I'm going to use a fillet knife and just cut down into, not through to the meat, but a lot of this really thick section of the brisket that will not render down. So this is some of the trimming that I did. So we're looking at the fat cap right now. We are going to cook this brisket fat side up. So I'm going to try to get the fat cap down to about 1/4 of an inch. Best I can. I'm not going to worry about it too much, but I will trim it down some. All right, so I've trimmed up as much as I'm going to trim on this brisket. The trimmings I'll place in the middle pan, make my own beef tallow to use later on. So now I'm going to take mustard and use it as a binder on both sides. Just give it a thin coating of mustard, and this again just works as a binder. Just helps the rub stick. And we're going to do this mustard on both sides before we put a sprinkle on the rub. So this time I'm going with Killer Hog's Texas Brisket Rub. Kind of a salt pepper blend. It's got some garlic and other stuff in it, but mostly the salt and pepper. And we'll just coat that all over. It's a big piece of meat, so it's not going to do you any wrong to give it a nice, good coating. All right, we're doing the fat cap side. We will cook this brisket, as I mentioned earlier, fat side up. So we're going to get a good, continue with a nice coating on all sides, top and bottom, and even the sides, which I've already gotten. Okay, so now we're off to place it in the fridge. It'll sit overnight, and we'll put it on hopefully by 7 in the morning, around that time. Well, good morning. We got everything ready to go. I've got my temperature probe for the fire to monitor the temperature set up, and I've got my little firebox with some lump charcoal, and I've got a couple of tumbleweeds, little wax tumbleweeds to get the fire started. We'll get it up to temp, get it just right. Then we'll got some mesquite wood sections down in the bottom to help flavor the smoke once we get some clean smoke going. So we're gonna rock and roll on the smoker for about 5 hours. Then we're gonna wrap it. I'm gonna go to the pellet smoker for the second half and finish it off to get it to about 200 and pull it off and let it rest. Let's get that fire started. All right, got the fire going in the iron butterfly smoker of mine. A couple of pieces of mesquite. Get some good smoke going. I want to work with the flute wide open. All right, so we've got the brisket outside. We're ready to go. We're going to go ahead and open up the smoker. Just going to go for the grabby. I'm going to put the point side, which is the thickest part, facing the fire. The meat probe is going to keep me posted on the fire temperature inside the smoker, and we'll let it go for about 4 hours. Okay, so it's been 4 hours and it's time to spritz with some apple cider vinegar, and I'm going to go ahead and meat probe it for the rest of the time in the iron butterfly till we reach about 160 before we remove it and wrap it and go into the finished phase in the pellet smoker for a more controlled cook. So let's take a look. Oh yeah, looking good. A nice bark is forming. So we're going to go ahead and just spritz, give it a good spritz to retain moisture. And this is just a 50-50 blend of apple cider vinegar and water. Again, this is just to help us retain moisture. And I am going to go ahead and probe it in the flat. I can tell we've got a ways to go. So we're at 145 in the flat, and we're going to keep rocking here in the smoker till we get to about 160. I'm able to remotely monitor the temperature of the smoker and the meat probe that's currently in the flat side of the brisket, and that's going to allow me to not have to sit out there in the smoke. So having one of these is pretty handy. So right now we're at 230 on the heat in the smoke box, and we're at 149 in the flat side of the brisket, and we're going to spritz. We spritzed after the first 4 hours, and we'll go ahead and spritz once an hour until we get to 160, and then we'll wrap. Well, since I'm waiting for the time to wrap the brisket, here's a little handy tip on probably one of the best wrapping techniques I've seen on social media. So this is my little plastic doohickey, and it's kind of shaped like a brisket. I'm using a paper towel section as an example. So I'm just going to demonstrate what I saw and learned myself. So it's a position equal to the width, fold over, and then diagonal down, almost like making a paper airplane, and then over the middle, flat, and then the same on the opposite side. Again, it kind of reminds me of making a paper airplane. Come over to the fold over, even it out. I've got fat side up, fat side down, fat side up, and then any excess can be trimmed. Well, I was pretty impressed by this method. It's one that I'll be using from now on. Of course, your method is yours to have, to create, to share. But again, I thought it was pretty cool. And I've never seen it done with a paper towel as a demo and a key fob. But there you go. If it helps you, then I'm happy about it. All right, so I'm getting ready to pull the brisket. It's at 160. And I'm going to wrap it in some butcher paper. So I've wet it down, I've moistened it to make it easier to work with some of the apple cider vinegar and water mixture. I'm going to go ahead and take some beef tallow right about where I'm going to lay the brisket, and then I'm going to pull the brisket out and set it right on top of there. And here we go. We're looking good. Got a good bark. So we're going to go fat side up, right about where we want it. And then we're going to drizzle some more beef tallow on top of the brisket. And we're going to commence our folding. Not really sure how the video quality is going to present itself, so I just want to get it as right as I can. So warm today. Here we are, middle of October in Texas, Austin, Texas, and we're still dealing with 90 plus degrees. Got that side up, that side down, that side up. So we're going to temporarily put it back into the smoker, let it sit there for a little bit. And now for phase two, we're going to bring up the pellet smoker to 250. I'm actually going to finish off in the pellet smoker, my Camp Chef pellet smoker, set to 250 degrees. No, not everybody does it this way. I've just started kind of what I call a fusion method. I have a probe to help me monitor the temperature. I want to get it to 200. I'm going to go into the flat and I'll be monitoring it. Right now we're at 162. So in a few hours we will be where we want to be. Just to reiterate, we rocked on the Iron Butterfly, my offset smoker. Temperatures ranging from at one point 300 to mostly 225, 230 for 5 hours. We spritzed it after 4 hours, every 2 hours. Then we moved over here and wrapped it with the butcher paper, spritzed the paper with apple cider vinegar and water, drizzled some beef tallow on both sides of the brisket prior to wrapping it. Moving then to the last phase, the Camp Chef pellet smoker or any other pellet smoker at 250 for the last few hours of the cook. So our temp is at 199 with 201 now, so it's time to pull the brisket. I'm going to control the environment by placing it at 150 degrees in this roaster until I'm ready to remove it and slice it. And I'll slice it at about 145 degrees internal temp on the brisket. So that's what's happening next. So here's our brisket, and it's about to go into the roaster at a controlled temperature of 150 degrees where it will rest. I've had the brisket in the roaster oven for a little over an hour. The temp has come down to 169. I'm going to pull it out of the roaster and into a cutting pan. I'm going to let it come down a little closer to like 150, 145 in that area before I open it up and start to slice it. Well, after a long day, we got the reveal, so let's take a look. I really like what I see. Nice color bark. Very jiggly. Feels very tender. Nice bark. So we're going to go ahead and slice into it here in just a second. Be right back. I'm going to clear up this paper. Okay, so let's cut into it and see what we look like. Very, very juicy. Nice smoke ring. Oh yeah. Looks really, really good. Look at that. How pretty is that? How nice is that? Good Lord. Let's do the pull test. Oh man. Very, very good. Today was successful. I'm enjoying the taste. We'll get more slicing done. We're gonna have some family and enjoy this brisket. And there you go, with the raving fans you can hear in the background. This brisket is sliced and ready to go. I've got some burnt ends, I've got some moist, I've got some lean right here. It looks like we're gonna have some great tacos. And I hope you liked the tutorial. The video will be coming soon for YouTube. And we'll see you next time.